Hello everyone and welcome to the review of the newest Ado Air. And this is a very special e-bike. Although the design may not show it for now, this is truly one of a kind e-bike because this is one of the lightest e-bikes that are on the market right now. And beside that, beside being very light, this is also providing very high performance and premium features, so this should be a really interesting review. First of all, I must mention that this e-bike is sold in two versions, mainly the European version and also the international version. The European version is limited to 25 kilometers per hour, 250 watt motor, no acceleration, no throttle. It's just assisted, and that's it. You know the rest of the European legislation: 25 kilometers per hour, 250 watts, no acceleration, and clearly you need to have something like 250 watts written on here with CE and so on, and certification. So the bike is fully compliant. Then the international version, which actually this is an international version, has a different motor. And this motor supports higher power, it supports speed unlocking, and you can install an additional optional throttle that is not fitted right now on my bike. So for now this acts like a European model, but it's actually the international version. And now let's move on to the more interesting technical parts. So this bike is, as I told you at the beginning of the review, very nice because it has several features that are found on higher end bikes, such as drive belt, carbon drive belt, so we no longer get a noisy chain that you need to clean and oil. The belt it should be changed at a very high amount of mileage, something like 20,000, 30,000 miles or something like that, so it's kind of for life. It's very easy to change it and it's not that expensive, and it has zero maintenance. You are not going to get your pants dirty anymore. So that's a big improvement. Then after that one, we get a smart torque sensor here. So it's no longer a cadence sensor that detects that you are spinning the pedals and tries to assist you. This time the bike knows exactly how much power you are putting on the pedals, and combined with the controller and the assisted level mode, it selects the instant amount of power that it applies to the motor. So it correlates your pedaling strength with the motor power. This makes it have almost absolutely no lag, so when you are starting from standstill, when you are pressing the pedal, you are already sending the controller information that you want to start right away. So it's putting power into the motor and it's measuring your torque, so it adapts the motor torque in comparison with your own effort. The brake system has also been updated and it's now using full hydraulic brakes both in front and the rear. And we have 160 millimeter discs, which is more than enough for this size of e-bike. And they provide very good stopping power. Another improvement is a new display. This is an IPS display, color display, fully waterproof, and it has Bluetooth connectivity, and Ado provides an app where you can customize a lot of things related to this e-bike. It's also seeable in daytime, but probably you are not going to see anything on my camera because that's how my camera works. But you can see this even in bright sunshine without a lot of problems. Also underneath it you get a USB port, so you can charge your mobile phone on the go. The Air also folds really easy. Besides being a very light bike, you have this quick folding mechanism on this side here. It has this clasp here, you unlock it, and just like that it's now folding. Take the kickstand and the bike has folded in half. Also the pedals are of course foldable, so the bike takes a lot less space when it's fully folded this way. And you can also fold the handlebar. Again, it has here a latching mechanism, and it becomes a very compact e-bike. And you can take this further on. You can quickly remove the seat post, which also contains the battery, and we are left with this tiny e-bike folded up, and you can take the battery with you. So you can charge this at your home, at your office, or just take it with you as a measure of protection against theft. Eido also did some smart things with this clamp here, because I'm not giving you any names. On other bike brands there were issues with this type of design. Well, they did the improvements. First of all, this is thick, it's wide, so it has a lot of gripping power. Then it has an extra screw here that holds this in place, so it doesn't get up or down, it doesn't slide out. You are not going to lose it, not going to get it stolen without actually dismantling. And besides having a lot of gripping power with two sides here on both parts, they have included a liner inside, so this is not metal on metal. There is a compressible liner inside, so the seat post gets through that liner. That liner reduces the friction between metal to metal, so it's not scratching the seat post, but also provides enough gripping power so the seat will not slide in while you ride the bike. So a really well thought up design for this clamp here. So you can use this on a daily basis to take the battery with you. You're not going to scratch it, you're not going to destroy it, and it's not going to slip or get open while you are riding the bike. The battery itself is nicely designed with the seat post, because it allows you first of all to adjust the angle of your seat, so it can be tilted upward or downward, and you can slide it back and front, so plenty of adjustments so you feel comfortable on it. Then here you have the connector for the bike power. Is the charging port here. On this side you get the power on and off of your battery, so it has a battery switch. And the Eido also provides you a stop light that it's simple but yet effective, with LEDs, very bright LEDs, with a turn on and off button here. It's also a refractor, so if you forget to turn this at night time, at least the cars that are going to hit you from the back, they are going to see it, because this shines pretty good. Also, the seat post is long enough to accommodate even tall people and also shorter people, so that's really nice, because it has a lot of adjustment here between the maximum and minimum insert, which is really nice. So the bike gets comfortable for most sizes of people. The power connector is also interesting, because it has a quick attach. You just push it and it does a click, and now it's installed. Then if you want to take it out, it also has a quick release. You just untwist this blue part here, this blue ring, and it jumps out, and just like that you are disconnecting the power cable. Really smart thing. And also, if you are wondering, this has internal O-rings, silicone O-rings, so this is waterproof. So when it's connected, this is truly waterproof. The handlebar stem is also adjustable, and it has a lot to work with. Again, this is great for tall and shorter people. You have plenty of room to adjust it. To also be fully compliant, the bike comes with wheel reflectors, it comes with pedal reflectors, it has a rear stop light with LEDs and a rear red reflector, also has white reflector and white LED headlamp. So all of these are actually mandatory, and the bell is also mandatory in some European countries. You can get a fine if you don't have a bell on your bike. So I was telling at the beginning of this video that this bike goes into premium territory, where besides having advanced technology such as the torque sensor, drive belt and so on, the frame is also made with a lot of hidden welds, so you don't have ugly welds here, you don't see ugly welds here, nothing. Everything is polished out and makes the bike really nice and has spectacular design. You only see some welds here, here and there, but otherwise the main part of the frame it's really nicely made. Also, there are no cables on the frame, so every cable, including brakes and everything, goes into the frame here and goes outside where they are needed to go. The motor itself is also special, because this is not only a geared motor that amplifies torque, but it also has a one-way clutch. So when you are not using the motor by applying power and you are just pedaling alone or going downhill, this motor simply disengages from the wheel axle and will provide coasting and not any kind of drag there found on these motors. So it's just like riding a normal e-bike that only carrying some extra weight. So having such kind of motor on this bike improves the efficiency a lot, and you can find yourself going over the assisted level by pedaling and not feeling any kind of effort, and you are out pedaling the assisted system a lot of times, and when that happens you are not using any kind of power from the battery, thus you are enlarging the range of your battery a lot. Eido has also provided means of installing a rack if you want to. You have nuts here welded on the frame and also on the lower part here of the rear fork, so you can fit a rear rack if you want to. So enough with the talk already, because probably you are wanting to actually see this, how it works, how it rides, not my boring talking about it. So by the way, I'm weighing about 85 kilograms, so you can assess how this bike performs with that weight. And today my backpack has about 2 kilograms. So keep that in mind when I go uphill, when I accelerate, and when I tell you how this bike handles. Also, when you get the bike, there are a lot to talk about this display, because it has several working modes. You may need to do a Bluetooth update. I'm going to cover that probably in another video, because there is a lot to talk about this and the app and what to do with them and how to enable the throttle and what error codes and why there are error codes and so on. It's a long discussion. It's nothing complicated, but it's not the scope of today's review. Today we are going to ride. So the bike is now limited at 25 kilometers per hour. I don't have any throttle, and it's working in 3 assisted modes. And also I have enabled the zero mode, which means that even the bike is powered on, it will not use any kind of power with the motor, so it's like turning the bike off. But you still get the display, so you still know the speed. Alright, so let's put it to maximum assist. This is not a terrain to test the bike, but I'm going to try it anyway. This is a rather steep incline, and it's a very uneven, grassy meadow. I shouldn't be even allowed to ride here, but nonetheless I'm going to do it for this review. And this is weird and amazing in both ways, because the bike almost lifts on the rear wheel. The torque assistance works superbly from the start. It's very sensitive. It picks up instantly your pedaling, and it applies power to the motor instantly. So it works without having the annoying delay that you get on assisted bikes, where you need to pedal a few times. So the sensor picks up that you are doing work and then gives you motor power. With this model, it's no longer happening. So I have switched to assisted level 1, and I'm really comfortable at pedaling and keeping a slow 15 kilometers per hour rate. Okay, if I increase the power, it's not like assisted bikes. You are not going to get faster, and even on 3rd level assistance here, because all what this controller does on the assisted gear modes, it's the maximum power that it can put in comparison with your torque that you are outputting with your legs. So it's no longer a speed limit, it's a power controller that works in conjunction with your applied power. One of the most requested things to test about this bike is how it fares going uphill, because there are no gears, just the electronic one. You don't have option to change gear, you don't have a low gear. So here it's a very steep incline. On this thing you cannot climb it with a scooter that is rated for 250 watts, because it absolutely doesn't have enough power. Only some geared motor e-bikes make it uphill, and they need some assistance from you. So today we are going to try to see how this works, but not having a throttle, it will mean that I will need to put some power. Nonetheless, we want to see if this is feasible to go uphill without any kind of gear changes. So I'm going to start just at the foot of the hill, so the incline gets worse and worse and goes right away in that direction. So I'm going to pedal. I'm going to use not the first gear, actually the maximum gear, the third gear. So let's see how this goes. So I'm not putting much effort into it right now. The bike is not definitely going very fast, but I'm comfortable. I'm not putting any kind of strong effort. Only now I feel that the bike is slower, but I'm still putting the same amount of effort, and I'm doing almost 12 kilometers per hour. So that's decent. And now feels a bit more hard, but nonetheless I still not putting too much effort into it. So I'm doing 10 kilometers per hour and I'm almost at the top of the hill, and I did it, and it was actually very easy to do. It wasn't something stressful, and I didn't feel the need to change the gear. And now the fun part, we are going to do it downhill. I'm on 0 assist now, so I'm just going to give it a few pedals to get some momentum, and I'm not going to pedal. And regular direct drive hub motor e-bikes will just slow down and do it very slow until getting down completely, while this one is going to accelerate. And I'm already doing 25, 30, 34 kilometers per hour. I'm not pedaling, and this thing just goes downhill. I'm going to do a kind of a jump here. And look at this. It's still going and going and going, and it will still keep doing that for a very long distance, because there's nothing that's putting any kind of drag onto it. That's why this bike gets a huge range from a tiny battery, because it's still going and going. I still have 15 kilometers per hour, and it's still going, and it's virtually silent. You only hear the cricket noise from the rear sprocket, and here the road goes a bit uphill, so it's going to slow down and stop eventually, but I'm still doing 5 kilometers per hour. So now I'm pedaling. You go a lot without using anything, so that's really economic. Oh, and by the way, another interesting test about the gearing again is I'm going to do a dead stop, and I'm going to start with 0 assist to see if I can start the bike with no assistant. And yes, I can do that. It's not very hard. It's actually decent pedaling, and around 15 kilometers per hour I feel really comfortable doing that. I could hold this amount of speed for a very long time, but let's see, can I get faster with this? So let's put some work and effort into it, and I'm doing 30, 31, and that's about the highest comfortable speed that I can attain to, because going faster than 30 kilometers per hour requires too fast cadence for me. So the bike is built for 25 kilometers for commuting into the city. You don't go racing with this, you don't go mountain biking. So 30 kilometers per hour should be enough, regardless if you want to do some exercise or use it in assisted mode. Let's also do an acceleration test. So now I'm on the maximum assist level. I'm going to be dead stop, and now let's pedal this. Wow, and if you put effort, the bike makes another effort, and it did 25 kilometers per hour almost instantly. And you feel that when you reach that speed, the motor cuts out and you feel the resistance. So 0-25 in an instant, then it's only your legs. Another thing that I enjoy very much on this bike is how well it's made up together. It doesn't have any kind of rattling parts, nothing. No battery to rattle, no controller to rattle, no weird noises, nothing, no creaks, nothing. Nothing from this folding system. You are just going to feel every kind of bump in the road. And right now I'm doing 40 psi in both tires, front and rear. So I do feel the bumps in the road because there's no suspension. But regardless how bad the road is, it doesn't make any extra noises besides the squealing brakes. And the squealing brake, it's a known fact already attended by ADO, so it's fixable in several ways, by readjusting, by doing some things. For me, it's not an issue. For some people it is because it makes a lot of noise. I actually like to have that brake noise because I use it sometimes as a warning for pedestrians that are crossing the road badly. And that was the test ride and the initial review. I hope that you have enjoyed the information until now. I'm pretty amazed about this bike, as you probably have observed from my video. I truly enjoyed the transmission, the silent belt, the torque sensor, so everything is just fine. The brakes are amazing. You can stop right away just using your pinky finger. Of course, there is that squealing noise that you can sort out, but I'm not having a problem with that. I do enjoy the stopping power, which is amazing. Other huge pro that is worth mentioning is that I did about 20 kilometers testing this, and the battery level is still at around 80%, which is truly amazing. And you see how I test the bike, go uphill, do acceleration test, braking and so on, which is by far not efficient in any kind of way. With all of that, I still managed to just use 20% for 20 kilometers, which is great. So if you ride this economically, you're definitely going to get huge range out of the battery. I also must mention that I'm going to do a second review when my accelerator gets here. So I'm going to install it, I'm going to configure it, I'm going to show you how to do that, because it's not very complicated, but it's not straightforward. So I'm going to do all of that, and then of course I'm going to test again the bike to see the true performance of this international version. As right now, although it has a different motor than the European version, the performance is similar with the European version. But with the unlock mode and full power, you get even extra torque from the motor. So that should be a lot more interesting and should have more capability for uphill climbing. So be sure to follow my next uploads, and we are going to talk a lot about this bike and more details about it in the next videos. So until then, see you and bye bye.